Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play Chaos Head. In the last episode, Sena Aoi and Kozue Orihara were wandering down the train line in search of Issei Hatano, Sena's father, with whom Sena wanted to punish above all else. And lo and behold, they actually found him waiting for Sena in the train line. Before Sena could actually finish what she had vowed to do so very long ago, to avenge her mother and her younger sister, Issei Hatano had saved her life and was murdered not by Sena, but by a different person. The miserable scumbag Mamoru Suwa, who unfortunately is also carrying a Noah 2 terminal, because of course he is. And he used it to launch a psychological attack against both Sena and Kozue, taking advantage of their tragedies and their respective delusions. But at the 11th hour, Kozue's delusion was broken by none other than Takumi Nishijo, and broken to such an extent where Kozue can actually speak with her own voice for the first time in a long while. It was thanks to Kozupi that I'd managed to come running here. While near the police box atop Dogan Hill, I distinctly heard her inner screams for help in my head. That was while she was still trying to move with her cut foot. And once I ran off, relying on her voice, there was Sena, going white as she was forced to witness a delusion I couldn't see. Kozupi and Hatano-san, blood-drenched and fallen. I think someone's supposed to say something here.
こいつはラッキーっすね。
There it is. You kind of messed up your line there, Suwa. A man stood near the crossing with a revolver in his hand. Maybe he thought he was some kind of gunman, going by how he twirled the gun around and around in his fingers. Hate to break it to you, Suwa, but you are no revolver ocelot, unless Sena or somebody else managed to cut off your right hand with their D-sword, like a ninja. Then you would be Revolver Ocelot. Though he was in a suit, he also wore a rucksack, and from within it reverberated a nasty mechanical noise. Mamoru Suwa, a detective in the investigative department at the police headquarters. I've met with this man before. Twice, once at Tsuume Academy, and again with Yasuji Ban in the streets of Shibuya. And I knew what this man had done.
もともとは目障りな畑の親子を処分しに来たんすけどね。西条くん、君が自分から火に飛び込んできてくれて感謝感激っす。
No wonder you were pushing to try and pursue Takumi to no end. Scumbag doesn't even begin to encompass what lowlife this person is.
君を見かけたら捕まえろってことになってるんすよ。
Come to think of it, I'm actually surprised that Hazuki didn't just hand Suwa Takumi's private file. Then again, I think the original Takumi Nishijo Shogun might have had something to do with that in order to keep himself hidden.
誰に？
内緒っす。
I think we already know who gave him his orders. A flippant smile. That way of smiling brought his late partner, Detective Ban, to mind. But there was a decisive difference between them. Detective Ban's smile had been a performance, meant to set the other person off guard, or else irritate them. A calculated tell, one might say. When it came to Suwa, on the other hand, the sly smile itself was his true nature.
あんたは野呂瀬の居場所を知ってる？
西条くんさ。
Suwa shook his head exaggeratedly and let out a sigh.
口の利き方に気をつけてほしいっすね。自分の方が年上っすよ。
As you were when you murdered Yasuji Ban?
バンっていう人を殺したのは。
だから？
刑事のくせに人を殺すなんて。
君には言われたくないっす。
I clenched my D-sword tightly.
あんたみたいなやつに敬語を使う義理なんてないよ。
そんな舐めた口聞いていいんすか？殺すぞ、童貞野郎。
And there it is, the shit-eating grin of Mamoru Suwa. Very much like a certain other junior detective, Toryu Adachi from Persona 4. Wolves in detectives' clothing, both of them. And, if I'm being brutally honest, both of them are as equally as pathetic as the other. And you can quote me on that. I could tell clearly even from this distance the smile had disappeared from Suwa's face. And without moving a single step out of place, he made an unexpected gesture, as if he were shaking out his free hand. An impact, pain, abrupt sensation. When startled, I looked at my shoulder. A familiar cross was protruding from it. No, not a cross. This was a stake. One of the cross-shaped stakes that had been used in the staking incident. So yeah, there are actually 3 individuals behind the new generation madness. The architect, Genishi Narose, Shino Hazuki, who had committed some of the murders, but not all of them. I think Actually, I think, now that I think about it, perhaps the even number of murders was carried out by Shino Hazuki, if my recollection isn't failing me, while the odd murders, including the group diving, the death of Professor Uta at the staking, and the death of the 3 stooges who were paid to deal with Takumi in the alleyway that one time, that was the doing of Mamoru Suwa. It had come too fast for me to see it. The dimness of the premises also contributed to how I'd completely failed to notice it flying at me. So Suwa fancies himself a ninja himself right about now. Suwa had thrown it all this distance without the slightest inaccuracy. I tentatively touched the stake. It felt cold and smooth. Was this a delusion? Possibly. Or the real thing. The pain grew steadily stronger and stronger. I couldn't flex my hands. I couldn't hold on to my D-sword.
再現してやるよ。
Suwa spoke in a voice tense with repressed fury. Because like Toru Adachi, spoilers by the way, but who gives a shit, Mamoru Suwa only became a detective just for the reputation, and also possibly being able to handle a gun without any major repercussions.
貼り付け事件の再現だ。
At some point, Suwa had come to grip a cross-shaped stake in his hand. Forcibly suppressing his explosive anger, he unleashed that stake at Takumi Nishijiro. It utterly ignored the laws of physics and air resistance. As though it had a will of its own, it shot in a straight line to stab through Takumi's arm. So far, 15 stakes had hit their mark. Not a single miss. Takumi's shoulders, upper arms, wrists, palms, waist, thighs, knees, shins. Blood lapped idly out of his deeply pierced wounds.
絶対に外れないダーツってのはあんま面白くないけどな。
And yet you're playing it anyway. The next stake was already in Sua's hand. He repeated the same motion, flinging it.
自分が万能の神になったような気がするんだよ。
Unless you're referring to Naruto itself, you're not correct. What an amazingly strange feeling, I thought. And we're also hearing Sua's thoughts, but I'm not going to read them out. Suwa hurled another stake at Takumi, whose head was hanging, who had no way to resist what was happening.
俺はただの人間だけどな。お前らと同等の力を手に入れた。
Through artificial means. Everything was thanks to the Noah 2 terminal inside the rucksack Suwa wore on his back. Sorry, had to suppress a sneeze there. As long as he had this with him, he could enjoy the benefits of Noah 2's power even without being nearby it. He would become an artificial gigalomaniac. Suwa had been completely entranced by power. A member of the Vanguard who would do anything, no matter how filthy, for the sake of the teachings he followed and for their founder, much like his compatriot, Hazuki.
この力は神からの贈り物だ。信仰のため、信じる者のために戦えるんだからな。
Suwa hurled yet another stake. Penetrated to the back of Takumi's neck. Brutality seethed in Suwa's heart as he wondered how long he could withstand it. As though torturing him, Suwa would make him advance towards death bit by bit. Incapable of resistance, yet still not falling over, he went on receiving stakes in every part of his body. Takumi's chest, his stomach, the tips of his toes, all throughout his body. Suwa kept making thick, sharp stakes pound into him without mercy.
虫ピンで標本にされた昆虫みたいだな。しかもカブトムシとか蝶とかじゃない。お前みたいなガキにはコガネムシあたりがお似合いだ。
Takumi had already reached the point at which it would be impossible for him to stand. Suwa couldn't help but find it strange that he hadn't collapsed yet. But he would have to reach his limit soon. His eyes were empty, and in all likelihood he wasn't seeing anything anymore.
遺言があるならいいな。ただし20時以内だ。
Suwa said to Takumi, gloatingly, holding the next stake in his hand. Suwa would kill him with the next one.
さっき童貞やろうって言った。
傷ついたのか？
Takumi glared at Suwa with lightless eyes.
これが最後の一本。信仰の救いはお前にはやらねえよ。
Suwa flung the stake in his grasp.
知ってる。
It was the stake of certain death. A cross to bring me the promised gospel. The one who would die with a single blow was...
童貞の妄想力はすごいんだ。
With a dull sound, the stake plunged deep into his forehead. All the agony devouring my whole body went away. Almost like it had been an illusion. I let out a deep breath and licked my parched lips. In my hand was a single cross-shaped stake. When I looked up to the sky, there were leaden clouds.
復活の奇跡は物語で妄想なんだ。
Indeed it is.
何をした？
Just a little bit of sleight of hand. Magician's secret, but I'm pretty sure in your dying moments, Mamoru Suwa, you can
妄
figure it
想
out.
シンクロ。
Of course. Shared recognition. An invasion of the heart. Like two wavelengths resonating. Melting together. Warping the fates created by others. Switching them in. No one could do that, said Suwa's expression.
神の先兵ならメシアと同じように朽ち果てろ。
I tossed the stake away. In other words, Takumi hijacked Suwa's delusion and made it his own. Suwa's eyes were rapidly losing their light.
それと僕は救いなんかいらないよ。
And you're certainly not going to get it, Suwa. Suwa no longer gave any answers. Standing, he breathed his last.
コズピー、大丈夫？
And to that last statement, I say, good fucking riddance. Still some down, she bobbed her head in a nod. But it appeared as if she couldn't stand up on her own. She looked up at me with sparkling eyes, and also a parting statement to the late Mamoru Suwa. Yasuji Ban was right about you. You are a fool, a gifted fool, but a fool nonetheless. And now you are a dead fool.
たくみさん、今何が起きたの？
A little bit of bait and switch, I suppose you can put it. Kozubi, you're talking normally.
あ、本当だ。
I wonder, since Kozupi's delusion was shattered earlier, I doubt she can actually communicate with him or anyone else the way that she used to with the power of her heart. Putting a finger to her lip, she tilted her head in wonder. She too soon appeared to tire of thinking about it.
童貞さんの妄想力はすごいの？
Maybe it's a good thing that Kozupi's delusion has been shattered and now she's fixed. Because I think she can no longer peer into people's minds.
すごいよ。
Sena had said that ignorance was a sin, but I didn't agree with her. It's precisely because you don't know about it that you can supplement your ignorance with delusions. Or ignorance, sorry. Your delusions can swell up, get as big and overblown as you want them to. You can have the sorts of delusions that would be impossible to have if you knew. Delusions are a virgin's number one talent. Speaking of which, what about Sena? I looked around for her in the poorly lit platform. Even though Stu is dead, his No 2 rucksack is still intact. I want to break that. Then again, Sena stood at the edge of the platform, her head lowered. At her feet was
畑野さん。
Hatano Issei, lying in a pool of blood. He no longer showed any signs of moving, and even I could tell his life had ended. I hadn't made it in time. Even though I thought he might know the two's location. Except there is one other person that knows, and she is standing right in
ノ
front
ア
of
2
you.
は渋谷駅のすぐ横にある。
Sena murmured, gazing down at Hatano-san, at her real father's remains, as if she'd seen through what I was thinking.
この男が死ぬ間際に私の心に伝えてきた。渋谷駅の東口、ビルの屋上にある。今は閉鎖されたプラネタリウム。
Ah, so Noah 2 isn't being kept at Nozomi headquarters, or maybe the planetarium was well, it's closed down, so it wouldn't be converted to the new
そ
headquarters.
こにノア2がある。
どうも。
I waffled over whether or not to say anything to Sena. Probably not. She'd borne a grudge against her father. She'd longed to kill him. Despite the fact that her heart's desire had been granted, her back looked terribly lonely, because unfortunately it wasn't her who had dealt the fatal blow.
くそ。私をかばって。それで罪を償ったつもりか。
I don't think he was actually planning on atoning. Not now, not ever. Sena's words were aimed at her father's unresponsive corpse. No, his sacrifice wasn't entirely self-serving, at least not in the way that you would have thought. Or it is in a way, because with his self-sacrifice he managed to do the one thing that he couldn't for his wife and younger child, which is to save his only remaining blood relative.
お前は自分の罪を認めた。その上で私に見せつけるように。許せない。私はお前を許さない。
セナさん、心が泣いてるの。
Maybe Kozue's delusional powers haven't quite gone away as I thought.
本当はお父さん殺したくなかったのら。
Kozube's whisper hit the nail on the head. That was when Sena stopped showing us her resolute attitude. Shoulders shaking, she dropped heavily to her knees.
どうして生きて罪を償おうとしないんだ。
Because after what had happened, Issei Hatano was effectively a dead man walking. And that is the soul-crushing truth.
どうして私を一人にするんだ。どうして。
セナ。
日常お願い。
Sena lifted her face. The tear-soaked expression was not the severe-looking face she usually wore.
ノア2を壊して。
It was the frail look of a lone girl heartbroken over the loss of her father, her family.
僕を殺そうとしたくせに君のお願いなんて聞く義理はないよ。
匠さん。
Turning my back on Sena and Kozue, I began walking down the tunnel to Shibuya Station. Of course he will break Noah too, but not for Sena's sake, for Rimi's. 2 wide gaping holes. What spread out in their depths was a deep darkness. If I passed through there, it'd be the most direct route to Shibuya Station.
僕は僕の目的のためだけにノア2を壊す。絶対に。
I had a feeling Sena said something, but I was no longer listening. And meanwhile, the man at the heart of all this waits patiently, waiting for the end. But that is going to bring an end to this episode of Let's Play ChäoS Head, ladies and gentlemen. And when we return, Takumi's resolution will see him through to the end, one way or the other. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.